All right, so welcome to the deep dive, everybody. Today, we're going deep into something a lot of you seem really interested in, improving your digestion.
It's definitely a hot topic.
It is, and for good reason. I've been looking through all the stuff you sent over, that interview with Blanca NutriCoach.
Yes.
She's got some really, really fascinating perspectives. I'm really excited to have you here to kind of pick apart all of the different pieces and really, make sure that we can give our listeners something that they're not getting in their average, WebMD article.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much we're still learning about something as fundamental as digestion.
Right.
It's not just about what you eat. There's so many factors at play.
Absolutely. And one of the things that she said that really kind of stuck with me, it made me laugh at first, but it really stuck with me, is she's like, the stomach doesn't have teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Which, seems obvious.
Right.
But then you think about it and you're like, oh, that's why chewing is so important.
Exactly. And so many people, they underestimate the power of chewing.
Oh, yeah.
They think, oh, it's just about breaking down food.
Smaller pieces, yeah.
But when you really think about what's happening in your mouth when you chew, it's like a whole symphony of actions.
It is, yeah.
First of all, you're mixing the food with saliva, right?
Right.
And saliva is not just there to help things slide down.
Yeah.
It contains enzymes like amylase.
Oh, wow.
And amylase starts breaking down carbohydrates right there.
So it's like pre-digestion is already happening.
Exactly. Like a little pre-party in your mouth.
Oh, I like that.
And then chewing also sends signals to the rest of your digestive system.
It's like a little chain reaction.
Exactly. It's like saying, hey, stomach, pancreas, intestines, get ready. Food's coming.
Oh, wow. So I guess I shouldn't just scarf down my lunch at my desk every day then, huh?
Well, yeah, that brings us to another crucial point that Blanca emphasizes, eating slowly and in a relaxed state.
Okay.
When we're constantly rushing, it throws off our whole digestive rhythm.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Your body has to have time to realize that it's full.
Exactly. It takes about 20 minutes for that I'm full signal to travel from your stomach to your brain.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. So if you're inhaling your food in 5 minutes flat, you're probably going to overeat before your brain even gets the memo.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Have you ever really scarfed something down and then felt way too full afterwards?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially at big family dinners and stuff. You just kind of keep going.
Exactly. And Blanca has a really simple suggestion. Just count your bites for a few days.
Really? Just count them.
Yeah, just becoming more aware of your pace can make a big difference.
Okay, so I like that. It's easy to do. But what about when you're stressed out?
Stress. Yes, that's a big one.
You're trying to eat, but you're also answering emails.
And classic desk lunch scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
So Blanca points out that stress puts your body into this fight or flight mode,
Right.
And in that mode, digestion gets put on the back burner. Your body's literally focused on survival.
Okay, yeah. It's not really thinking about digesting that salad.
Exactly. It's run away for the tiger, not digest this broccoli.
Yeah.
So yeah, even simple things like eating while standing up, it can impact your digestion.
Really?
It often leads to faster eating and less mindful chewing.
So there's just there's so many things that I'm doing wrong, apparently?
Well, we're all learning together.
Okay, so we've talked about chewing and slowing down. Now, what about this raw versus cooked thing? I know this is a big debate.
Right. It's a hot topic in the nutrition world.
Yeah. So where does Blanca stand on that?
Well, she has some interesting thoughts. She acknowledges that, yeah, raw foods make you chew more.
Right, which we just talked about. That's good.
But she also points out that they can be harder to digest for some people.
Oh, okay. So it's not as simple as just saying raw is better.
Exactly. It's more nuanced than that. And, she talks about how some nutrients are actually more bioavailable when they're cooked, meaning your body can absorb them more easily.
So it's almost I guess it's finding that balance. If you feel good after a big salad, go for it.
Right.
But if you're ugh, I just can't digest raw vegetables, then you don't have to.
Yeah. Listen to your body. It knows what it needs.
Now, I know Blanca gets into the specifics of what happens to your food as it goes through the digestive system.
Yeah. She uses those terms.
Yeah, she does, bolo, alimentatio, chemo, and kilo.
Right.
Do we really need to know all that?
Well, it might sound technical.
Right.
But I think it's really helpful to visualize the journey that your food is taking,
Okay.
So think of it like you're a little bite of food heading into this grand adventure.
Okay, I'm a little bite of food.
First, you're hanging out in the mouth, getting all mashed up with saliva, that's your bolo alimenticio phase.
Okay, so that's like step one.
Basically, a chewed up food blob, ready for action.
Okay, sounds delicious.
Right. And then you plunge into the depths of the stomach.
Oh,
Things get a bit rough and tumble down there.
okay.
Lots of churning, mixing with those gastric juices.
Okay.
Now, your chemo,
Chemo.
semi-liquid, partially digested concoction.
All right, so it's getting a little bit more scientific, I guess, as we go.
Yeah.
A little bit more complicated.
But it's all part of the process.
Okay.
And then finally, you enter the small intestine.
Okay.
You meet up with bile and pancreatic juice, becoming chelo,
Kilo.
a thinner, more refined mixture, ready for the grand finale, nutrient absorption.
So it's like this transformation in 3 acts almost.
Exactly. You're going from a humble bite to like this nutrient-rich liquid that's going to fuel your body.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the human body is pretty credible.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so we've covered chewing, we've covered slow eating, the different stages of digestion, but I know there's this whole thing about acid reflux that Blanca talks about.
Right.
Which is something that I think a lot of people, they hear acid reflux and they think, oh, I have too much stomach acid.
Yeah, that's a super common misconception.
Is it?
Yeah, Blanca actually emphasizes that acid reflux is often caused by low stomach acid.
Really?
It's called hypochlorhydria.
Hypochlorhydria.
Yeah.
Okay, how does that even work? Like, how does low stomach acid cause acid reflux?
So think about the valve between your esophagus and your stomach.
Okay.
It's supposed to keep that stomach acid down where it belongs, right?
All right.
But when there isn't enough acid, that valve doesn't close properly.
Oh.
And then the acid splashes back up.
And that's what gives you that burning sensation.
Exactly. And here's where things get tricky. You know, people reach for antacids
Right.
to neutralize the acid, which gives temporary relief, of course.
Right. Makes sense.
But in the long run, it can actually make the problem worse because you're reducing stomach acid even further.
So it's like a vicious cycle almost.
Exactly. You take antacids to feel better, but it can contribute to the underlying issue.
And is that common?
Well, that's the thing. Blanca says that hypochlorhydria is way more common than we think.
Really?
Yeah, and it often goes undiagnosed.
Okay, so that's something to really be aware of.
Definitely. It's not just about heartburn. It's about making sure your body can actually utilize the nutrients you're eating.
So we really need to be paying attention to what's going on in our gut.
Absolutely. Understand the root causes, not just masking the symptoms.
This is blowing my mind.
That's what the deep dives is all about.
Okay, so low stomach acid can cause acid reflux. What else does it impact?
Well, think back to that final stage of digestion we talked about, nutrient absorption.
Yeah, kilo.
Exactly, kilo.
Mm-hmm.
Low stomach acid can throw a wrench in that whole process because you need sufficient stomach acid to properly break down food and release those essential vitamins and minerals.
So even if you're eating like a super healthy diet, if your stomach acid is low, you might not be absorbing all that goodness.
Exactly. And that can have ripple effects throughout your whole body.
Oh, wow.
You know, potentially leading to fatigue, depression, skin problems, even osteoporosis.
So this is a big deal.
It really is. It's not just about preventing heartburn. It's about making sure your body can thrive.
Okay, so I am starting to see just how crucial it is to have like healthy stomach acid levels.
It's a cornerstone of good digestion.
This is some seriously mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah,
I
sure.
feel like I need to completely rethink my whole approach to digestion.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Okay, so we've established that chewing matters, slow eating's key, and low stomach acid is way more important than we thought. I know Blanca has so many other great insights, though. What's next on our digestive journey?
Oh, there's so much more to uncover.
Oh, good.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're continuing our exploration of all things digestion. And I think Blanca really has a knack for making this stuff relatable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she does. She does. And one of the things that I really took away from the interview was this idea that you are what you absorb,
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
not just what you eat.
Right.
So it's like, it really highlights the importance of all this stuff that we were talking about in the first part. Like, you know, chewing, mindful eating, your stomach acid levels, all that plays a role in actually making sure that those nutrients are getting into your system.
That's like a chain reaction. you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of chain reactions, Blanca also talks about this really fascinating concept of digestive rest. Basically, giving your gut a break to do its thing.
Okay.
She recommends at least 4 hours between meals.
4 hours. So no, like snacking every couple of hours.
Well, it depends. You know, she's not totally against snacking,
Okay.
but she does emphasize that constant eating can disrupt the natural self-cleaning process that happens in the gut.
Oh, okay.
So think of it like your digestive system is like a self-cleaning oven.
Okay.
If you keep opening the door and throwing more food in, it can't complete the cycle.
So it's like, it's not just about what we eat. It's also about giving our bodies time to actually process it all.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is where this whole debate about snacking versus intermittent fasting comes in.
Right, right.
And I think Blanca has a really balanced perspective. She's like, it depends on the individual.
Okay.
Some people thrive on those smaller, more frequent meals,
Yeah.
while others do better with longer fasting periods.
Right.
So it goes back to that personalization thing we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
Like, there's no one size fits all.
Okay.
The key is to listen to your body's cues.
Right.
Like, are you feeling constantly hungry?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe sluggish after meals? Those could be signs that your system's overworked and could benefit from a little bit more rest.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, can we talk about the microbiome? Because
Yeah.
that's something that I hear about all the time.
Yeah, it's a hot topic for sure.
It is. But I feel like I still don't really understand it.
Well, it's like, we have this whole hidden universe living inside of us.
Oh, wow.
Blanca calls it the second brain.
The second brain, wow.
And these trillions of bacteria in our gut, they play a role in not just digestion, but immunity, mental health, skin health, even.
Wow. Okay, so this is a big deal.
It's huge. So what do?
Yeah.
Well, they help break down food, produce vitamins, they regulate our immune system, they even influence our mood.
It's mind-blowing to think that these tiny little organisms can have such a huge impact on, how we feel and our health in general.
It really is. And what's even more fascinating is how our microbiome is shaped from the very beginning of our lives.
Oh, okay.
Blanca really emphasizes the importance of vaginal birth and breastfeeding.
So, the way we're born and fed as infants impacts our gut health later on in life?
Exactly.
Right.
So during vaginal birth, the baby's exposed to the mother's vaginal bacteria,
Oh.
which helps to, seed their gut with these beneficial microbes. And breastfeeding continues to provide those beneficial bacteria, as well as prebiotics, which are like food for the good bugs.
It's amazing how nature has it all figured out. It's all connected.
It really is. There's even research being done on what's called vaginal seeding after C-sections.
What? What is that?
Yeah, it's where they'll take a swab of the mother's vaginal fluids and apply it to the newborn
Oh, wow.
to try to mimic that natural bacterial exposure.
So we're really starting to understand how important this is.
We are. It's a whole new frontier of scientific discovery.
That is so cool.
Now, going back to Blanca's tips for improving digestion, she offers some practical advice beyond chewing and slowing down, which we already talked about.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Well, remember how we talked about low stomach acid?
Yeah.
She suggests a few things to help support healthy levels.
Okay.
First, she recommends limiting liquids during meals.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought you were supposed to drink a lot of water with meals. That's what I've always heard.
It's a common misconception. Drinking too much liquid during meals can dilute your stomach acid,
Yeah.
making it less effective at breaking down food.
Oh, okay. So maybe just sip water between bites instead of chugging a whole glass.
Exactly. And she also recommends incorporating some digestive aids into your routine. Things like ginger, fennel, dandelion tea,
Okay.
papaya, pineapple,
Yeah.
even apple cider vinegar.
Okay, I've heard of all of those, but I never really understood how they work.
Well, ginger is known for its anti-inflammatory properties. It can really soothe the gut. Fennel and dandelion tea can aid digestion, reduce bloating.
Okay.
Papaya and pineapple contain enzymes that help break down protein. And apple cider vinegar can help stimulate stomach acid production.
So instead of reaching for the over-the-counter medications, maybe try incorporating some of those natural remedies.
Exactly. It's about working with your body, not against it.
I like that.
Now, we've talked about chewing thoroughly, slowing down, giving our digestive system rest, supporting healthy stomach acid levels. But there's one more crucial piece of the puzzle,
Okay.
and that's managing stress.
Oh, stress, of course.
It always seems to be the culprit, right?
Yeah, it impacts, my mood, my sleep. I know all that.
Uh-huh.
But how does stress actually affect digestion?
Well, remember how we talked about that fight or flight response?
Right.
When you're stressed, your body prioritizes survival,
Yeah.
which means digestion takes a back seat.
Okay.
Blood flow is diverted away from your digestive organs. The production of digestive enzymes slows down.
So even if I'm doing all the right things, like eating all the right foods, chewing meticulously, if I'm stressed out, it's still going to mess with my digestion.
It can, unfortunately. Chronic stress can lead to a whole host of digestive issues.
Really?
Yeah. Things like IBS, heartburn, constipation. It can even disrupt the balance of bacteria in your gut, leading to dysbiosis.
So stress is not just bad for our mental health, it's bad for our gut health too.
It's all connected. And Blanca emphasizes finding those stress-reducing activities that work for you.
Yeah.
Whether it's yoga, meditation, spending time in nature, or even just taking a few deep breaths throughout the day.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Chewing, slow eating, digestive rest, stomach acid, the microbiome, even stress management. It's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
But the good news is that even small changes in these areas can make a big difference.
Okay, well, I'm feeling inspired to start implementing some of these things. What else does Blanca recommend?
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've talked about so much. Chewing and eating slowly and stomach acid and even stress management. Like, it's amazing how it's all connected.
It really is. It just shows how digestion, isn't just something that happens in your stomach. It's like a whole body experience.
It is. Okay, so before we wrap up our deep dive into all this amazing information from Blanca NutriCoach, I have one more thing that I'm kind of confused about.
Okay.
So she mentioned, remember how raw foods force you to chew more?
But some nutrients are more bioavailable when they're cooked.
Yeah.
So I'm confused. How do I find that balance?
Well, it's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to that theme of personalization that we keep talking about. Blanca's point is that there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to raw versus cooked. It's really about experimenting and figuring out what works best for you.
So, if I love salads and they make me feel good, I don't need to avoid them just because some nutrients might be a little bit easier to absorb when they're cooked.
Exactly. Your body's going to tell you what it needs.
Right.
And if you find that raw veggies give you trouble, maybe try lightly steaming them or roasting them.
Okay.
You'll still get the benefits of the fiber, the nutrients,
Right.
but it might be a little bit easier on your system.
So I guess it's just about finding that sweet spot, where you're getting all the good stuff and you're also feeling good.
Exactly. And even within the cooked category, there are different levels of heat. She points out that some nutrients are more sensitive to heat than others.
Oh, okay.
So steaming or stir-frying might be preferable to, boiling or microwaving, which can destroy more nutrients.
Wow. Okay, so there's there are so many things to consider.
There are. It's like you become a digestion detective almost.
I do. Okay, so I love how Blanca is all about making healthy eating enjoyable.
Oh, yeah.
It really comes through in her recipes, and even the way that she structures her cookbook. She starts it off with desserts.
I love that.
It's not about deprivation.
Right.
It's not about following rigid rules.
It's about nourishment and enjoyment.
It is, yeah. And she focuses on simple, accessible ingredients.
Which is key for making it sustainable.
Right. It's I don't need to hunt down some obscure superfood that I've never heard of and spend 5 hours in the kitchen.
Exactly. No need to overcomplicate things.
Okay, so good. Her 3-ingredient stracciatella recipe, I've got my eye on that one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I love that it's easy and delicious.
It proves that healthy eating doesn't have to be boring.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, well, we've covered so much amazing information.
We have.
As we wrap up this deep dive into digestion, are there any, final takeaways that you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I think the most important takeaway is that digestion is this incredibly fascinating and complex process. And we have more control over it than we often realize. By understanding the basics of how our system works and really paying attention to our individual needs, we can make choices that support optimal gut health.
Absolutely. It's been an incredible journey through the world of digestion. I feel like I've learned so much, and I'm really excited to start putting some of this stuff into practice.
And remember, this is just the beginning.
Right.
Keep exploring, keep experimenting, keep listening to your body.
It is. It is. Okay, so for everyone listening, thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.